Hey yo, welcome back to Comedy Trap House News. It's your boy Marvin Telp. And we're gonna start this episode in New York, where a group of putties attacked victims on the train. Two women were attacked by this group of Mucinex monsters from the commercial. I'm not really sure what the hell they were, but apparently this group of women, this gang of thugs, was out at 2 a.m. on a train and they got into a verbal altercation with two 19-year-old women. I'm not getting in a verbal altercation with a group of anything, okay? Like anything wearing hoods, you know, we just don't have a good history with them. So anyway, these women somehow provoked an assault from this group of women, and apparently they just decided to get all of their Ninja Turtle practice in right then and there. Because this back kick right here is only been taught by Master Splinter himself. And so these women then hop off of the train and then run off into the streets. Very Ninja Turtle exit, beat the shit out the foot soldiers, get up and go. And the police said they have no idea where these women have gone. Check the sewers, nigga, you've seen this before. Problem is, New York subway system has never been the best place in the world. I give Florida and I give Texas a hard time, but sometimes New York is just gonna New York. And then you look at all this footage, because there's footage from every angle of this fight, assault, or whatever you want to call it. And you go, people are like, well, why didn't anyone jump in? Why didn't anyone help? She had on a pair of butter Timbs. I'm not getting kicked in the chest by Raphael wearing some Timbs. I'm just letting you know right now. Speaking of people that need to be kicked in the chest, let's jump over to Yuba, California. Across the country, on the other side of the coast, River Valley High School football team has been suspended for the year. Why? You would think maybe it's a hazing event. Don't put my letters up there. We are a non-hazing organization. You might think it was a hazing event. You might think it was something crucial to the school dynamic because you know how football is. But no, these dumb kids decided to put on a mock slave auction in school. And this just makes you think back to what we just saw a month or two ago with the Little League World Series, where these kids are no longer really connecting with racial insensitivity. What's that song? Sensitivity by Ralph? You know what I'm talking about. I need a girl with Anyway, what we have is what is a prevailing problem in this country is we are not teaching kids to have the proper respect for the dark side of our history, and not dark side like Us or Dark Side of the Moon like Transformers. That was a terrible movie. I just mean the fact that America is not as great as it always says it is. So if we know as kids, this symbol is the devil. Right? There's no mistaking the swastika whatsoever. We know that the World War II Nazism is something that we never want repeated. The Holocaust was tragic, and the loss of life during World War II was out of pocket. These are things that we are taught early. No one's afraid of it. No one's concerned that the German kids in that school are going to feel some type of way. They're not scared that their bratwurst day on Wednesday is going to cause a riot in the school. But yet, when it's our shit, America's shit, we refuse to touch it. So instead of going, hey, this symbol is the devil, we go, no, no, no. We have to honor the flag because they were patriots. Can we stop playing January 6th shit? I mean, yes, they did assault the United States of America and wasn't hung for treason, but we don't have to get into that right now. Back to the fact that we are not teaching our history properly. We are honoring the same equivalency that we make sure no one else does. What's happening is the marketing is getting so bad for black kids that they don't even know their own truth. They don't even know the pain and suffering that their own people dealt with, still deal with, are still challenged by in the history of the United States of America. So yes, these kids do need to be kicked in the chest, but only because America's failing them. Surprise. Speaking of bad marketing, we'll stay right here in California, where LA City Council leader Nori Martinez was caught saying, just listen to some of this bullshit.
This white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved. The kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the floor, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him. Parece changuito.
Yes. And now, to be fair, if a kid is acting up, I wholeheartedly believe you need to beat their ass. Listen, I am biblical man. Spare the rod, spoil the child. And these kids is out of complete pocket. Out of pocket like the 8-ball when you tried to win and bounced around the corner. Anyway, she was caught spewing all of this stuff. And then the thing is, people say, if you really listen to what she's saying, maybe it's not a racist tirade. Listen to what she's saying. She picks and chooses what she says in English and what she slides into Spanish. And everything she slid into Spanish, it took me, I had to look up some stuff, but monkey is never, I told y'all about how I felt about porch monkey last week. Look at this. Beat that ass. Yes. Anyway, she proceeds to have this tirade, and then she comes out, she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Sorry for what? Sorry that you said it, or sorry that you got caught? Because this tape was recorded a year ago. It was only released recently. You didn't apologize a year ago. You knew the shit was out. You and your office could have been on top of it and said, hey, I was wilding out. I was in the space. No, you're only apologizing because you got caught. And this shows, again, back to that marketing, that we have Afro-Latinos, Afro-Caribbeans, Africans who look down at African Americans in the light, not because they actually know who we are, not because they have any real relationship with who we are as a people and what we are as a people, but because of the marketing of these United States of America. The marketing that allows Fernando to walk to the door and try to sell this solar paneling. And this speaks on the marketing, the negative marketing, because the relationship between blacks and Latins in this country is skewed. Now, let's be honest. There's a big contingent of you guys that just never made it over to complete the slave trade. You got stuck in the islands, you met up with some of the indigenous folks, you spoke a little bit of Spanish, and now you think you're a different subset of people. We are almost damn near one and the same. Now we have our Spaniards, we have our people from South America who also feel like they aren't included. But remember, most of the slave trade actually ended up in South America. I don't want to get into any of that. None of that truth. Let's just talk about the fact that we're in the same communities. We're getting hosed by the same system. We're getting left over, forgotten, arrested. And yet, for some reason, they have a permanent wedge between us because there's this mindset of I'm better than you and we're better than you guys. And the thing is, we're both being screwed. The system, law and order, everything else is not acting in our actual favor. Pay attention, guys. We are in this together, even if you don't want to be. Speaking of law and order being out of pocket, we go to San Antonio, Texas. A young man, 17-year-old, was shot at by a police officer 10 times. Why? Because the police officer came to McDonald's on another call. Facts. So this kid is sitting in his car, eating his McDonald's, and you know they got the new adult Happy Meals right now, and I'm trying to get the rest of those little beans. He's sitting in his car. The cop then goes, oh man, I think he ran from me yesterday, right? Bringing up old shit. Stop bringing up old shit, people. I don't know if the kid did or didn't, but what transpired next should not have. The cop then runs up on this kid and opens his door unprovoked. I'm letting you know now, if the police run up in my car unprovoked and open my door, I'm going to react. And I'm not going to react in a way that's going to be like, oh man, that was smart, Marvin. It's probably going to be dumb as fuck. I'm not going to throw my fries at him because McDonald's fries are still delicious. I know once they took the trans fat out, they ain't been as crispy, they get soggy. This kid does what anyone else would have done, panicked. And then the cop opens up 5 shots. 5. Then as the kid is driving off, he proceeds to shoot another 5 more shots. And then you hear the cop yell, shots fired. Yes, motherfucker, by you. Like, it's one of those things, like you proclaim some dumb things like, damn, I hit him in the mouth. We saw. You don't have to make an announcement about you fucking up. And so this cop, he was fired. That's it, fired. Now this kid, as of today, as of the shooting of this, because we won't know what'll happen over the next week, but as of today, is in the hospital legitimately fighting for his life because he went to McDonald's at the wrong time, because the police officer, the rookie police officer, the probationary police officer as they call it, didn't have proper training. This is a training thing, ladies and gentlemen. If he was trained properly, he wouldn't have opened the door with his gun drawn. If he was trained properly, he probably wouldn't have just ran up on a dude's door to begin with. There are so many fucking steps before we get to someone being shot down, and imminent danger is supposed to be one of those things. But we're not getting that. We're hiring dumb mother people, and they are not prepared to actually handle on-the-job scenarios. Now, whose fault is this? Is it the hiring officer? Is it the training officer? It's everyone. There is a systemic problem. Doesn't mean I'm not yelling systemic racism, even though we know what the fuck it is. I'm just saying systemic problem. That there's something that the system has to be remodeled. The system of America has to be remodeled. The system of policing have to be remodeled. And until we start to actually deal with the hard shit, dealing with the marketing of color, dealing with all the other bullshit, we'll get shit like this. You're a representative making sure she calls you a monkey, or the little badass black kid who actually probably needed his ass beat, let's be honest. But she also probably needed a good old-fashioned backhand, because watch what the fuck you say. Out of control, needing a backhand, should be kicked in the chest, we should send a putty patrol over to beat his ass, is Putin. Russia, again, has now launched off a series of missile attacks in Ukraine. And this is in response to somebody blowing up his Crimean bridge. We don't know who blew up his bridge, but let's be honest. It was probably them. I'd have blown this shit up too. If you come to attack me, I'm gonna blow your goddamn bridge up. It's whatever. But this shows you just how petty these these men in power are. You provoked this war out of nowhere. They blow up your prized bridge and you get butthurt. And you don't launch attacks on military installations. You don't launch attacks on military people. You attack the civilians. Why? This is some bitch ass this is some nonsense. And what's happening is the international community is saying, oh, sanctions. They're not fucking working. The sanctions aren't fucking working. You know what the sanctions are doing? Fucking up my budget. Do you know what it costs me to put gas in my car every day? Not every day, but once a week, and still, it's way too much money. That used to be anyway, sorry. Oh shit. Something needs to give. And I'm not saying we need to jump in the United States and fix someone else's problems, because as I just said, we have our own fucking problems. But there should be something in the international community that makes this harder for Russia to get by. You're still buying gas from them, still buying oil from them, still doing trades with them. China's fucking off and doing what the fuck they want. There has to be something. There has to be some kind of caring about the loss of actual life. And I don't think we're getting that right now. I think what we're getting is, I don't know the motherfuckers, so it's not my problem. We are an international community. We are a national community. We are a community of people who are all different shapes, sizes, and colors. And yet, we tend to forget that because all we worry about is what's directly in front of us. And what's directly in front of us is the gram. And what's directly on the gram are these gremlin bitches out here in New York acting a goddamn fool. I don't know what to do, guys. I'm just saying, we gotta do better. And that's all I got. That's our time here at Comedy Trap House News. It's your boy Marvin Telp. Peace. A group of women dressed in green screens were missing on the set of She-Hulk.
Good. That's perfect.